Young black men in Nottingham being called to join a unique support group. Black on Track UK is the first of its kind, providing students with cultural and emotional support in further education, something the group's founder says is currently lacking. Nottingham Trent University's Sheine Peart joins us, course leader for the Masters in Education at the School of Nottingham Trent School of Education, here to tell us more, along with South Nottingham College Learner Achievement Coach and former youth worker Claudius Dyer, who's leading the group. Lovely to have you both with us. Thank you for joining us. Sheine, if I can ask you first to tell us a bit about the background to setting this group up.
Well, it has a number of different backgrounds, and it's a long, slow-burning idea that's been with me for a very long time. I'm one of four. I have three elder brothers. And throughout my youth growing up, it appeared to me that my brothers, and indeed my cousins, had a very different relationship to education than the black women, the young girls that I knew at the time. And that persisted when I became a teacher in schools. So I thought, what is happening here? So it's got a long and very personal background to me. I then moved into the further education sector, and some of the experiences of my brothers, of my cousins, of the young black men I knew within the statutory sector did not seem to be replicated within the further education sector. So the thoughts in my mind was what's so different here? What's happening here that seems to make education work for young black men when they seem to come off on the wrong side, and so badly off on the wrong side in the statutory sector? So I wanted to research that, and rather than speaking from emotion and a feelings base, I wanted to be able to speak from an evidence base. And that's why I engaged with the research project to investigate over a period of time what was the actual experience of young black men within the further education, how did they perceive education, how did they find that experience, and what difference was it making to them.
And did you come to any conclusion as to what was that difference? What changed?
A number of things changed. It would be great to say, although I think it would be an overclaim to say that FE has sorted it all out and schools have got it all wrong, but that would be too simplistic and too naive. But a number of things coincide at the same time to make the further education sector work for young black men. They've had an opportunity to grow older. They've had an opportunity to reflect. And the way that the further education sector is organised is so very, very different from schools. It gives people a chance to be themselves. It gives people a chance to start to direct their own education and take their own control of it, so that they say, I will be studying this because this is what I want to do. And it gives them a chance to start to direct their own destinies. It moves them out from being children in a structured way and moves them into being adults, so that they can start to take control of their own futures and make positive decisions. Now, like I said, it would be simplistic to say it was straightforward and easy, and it doesn't have all the answers. But what it does do, and what it does splendidly and fantastically, is it meets people halfway. And if the young black men are prepared to meet them halfway, then it can work for them. So it's not a panacea, but it is a place where people can change, and they're allowed to change. They can leave whatever reputation they've had behind them. They can come to a different environment. It's a new slate. It's a new start. And they can move forward from that point, and they can move forward in a positive way.
Now, the group that you'll be running in the new academic year is called Black on Track UK. And Claudius, you'll be the man responsible for running it. Tell us how it'll work.
Well, it'll be myself and another member of staff who's one of the lecturers at the college, called Norris Stewart. The two of us will be delivering the curriculum. In terms of how it's going to work, the plan is that we will meet, trying to kind of arrange a slot in which students can kind of come out of their timetable, or at least it can slot in somewhere with their timetable where they can come out and meet with us on at the minute we've probably got about 9 to 10 sessions that we're going to do throughout the course of the year, so we're looking at probably 3 to 4 per term. And each session will look at dealing with different issues. We will invite some guest speakers to come along as well. Through that, we can address a lot of the issues that are relevant to young black males. Hopefully they will also see it as an opportunity for them to sound out, I suppose, any issues that they have, not necessarily within college, but kind of growing up as a young black male. We're an open forum, I think, is more than anything else. That is kind of how it was born. That's what we were looking to do from the outset. So hopefully it's a voice for them, and that's pretty much the plan, to be honest.
So what sorts of issues are we talking about here?
Well, I mean, at the minute, I know that there's a lot of young black males find that their experiences, I know that Sheine spoke about it already, but their experiences of education have not necessarily always been positive. One of the major things that we're going to look at is about stereotypes and how they're perceived by others in society and how they're expected to then act. Are they expected to fulfill these stereotypes, and how they can address kind of going against the grain almost, in a sense, where they don't meet those stereotypes, and if they have kind of confidence in the conviction where they feel that education is key, and where the other people may not necessarily see that is actually is valuable for them, where they can say, no, this is the route that I'm trying to go. So that's kind of some of the stuff that we're going to be looking at. It's about relationships with their families, relationships with others. We look at positive role models as well. I know there's I suppose quite a lengthy discussion that could be had about role models and who they feel their role models should be, or who people feel role models should be to our children and young people. But I think there's a lot of positive role models out there, and also there's a lot of positive role models within their families as well, and it's being able to identify those.
It sounds like a fantastic group and really interesting one. Some people listening might say, surely all students could benefit from this. Why have you decided to focus particularly on young black men?
You're completely right. All students can benefit from positive support, and indeed there is a great deal of research that shows that support makes a difference to people's achievement. However, what we have to consider is the societal and contextual issues around this, and what is critical and what is absolutely known and well known in the public sphere is the issues of being a young black male are uniquely different to the issues of being a young white male. So as a young black male, you're more likely to be stopped in search. As a young black male, you're more likely to be excluded. As a young black male, you're more likely to have a unique experience of growing up which may only involve a family structure which is not fully recognised within Western society. So there are a variety of things today, and young men, young black men, are sometimes put in a very, very difficult position of constantly being forced into one of two roles. They either have to be humbled and emasculated, or they have to be the bad man. And so they're placed in this really unhelpful dichotomy. Now that is not the same experience for white men. And so we have targeted this group, and we have an evidential basis for targeting this group because we want to make the difference. We don't want to put young black men in the Hobson's choice. You either have to conform and give everything up, including your own cultural identity, or you have to go on the wrong side of the tracks. And there must be other choices in between.
Talking of which, you've written a book about your experiences of doing this research, entitled Making Education Work, How Black Men and Boys Navigate the Further Education Sector. When's it out, and tell us about it?
Well, that's going to be out in September, and that'll be published by Trent books, and it's available on the Amazon website now if you want to read a little bit more about it. And it really is, the background to this research is chronicled in that book, together with the things that the young black men actually had to say. Now, those things are so interesting because I worked with a group of 29 students who ranged from 17 through to 47, so we're not just talking about young people, we're talking about boys and men. And the things they had to say, although they were so very, very different, and they were not a homogenous group, but also they were very, very different, they had very common things to say. They had a very common experience of the UK education system and how it had worked with them. And there was no collusion here. These people were separated geographically, and these people were separated by their subjects. So there was a very clear message which gave me absolute confidence in what they were saying, and this is the real experience for them, and this really is what was happening. But what else they had to say, which was so important, was it wasn't a case of they were just going to give up and give in. It's, this is how we've worked out how we can get through it. This is how we've worked out how we can survive and how we can achieve. And what was so very, very clear was the education systems from primary through to secondary through to higher education hadn't done anything really to meet that group halfway and say, actually, we can support you navigate this and we can help you out. And that's what's going on with Black on Track.
Which starts in the new academic year in September.
Yep.
And love to have you both back on once it kicks off and let us know how it goes. Obviously launching in Nottingham, but something you'd like to see rolled out across the country?
We'd like to see it we have ambitious plans. It's not just to stay with a Black on Track group. We have ambitious plans that are looking at the judiciary system and working with ex-offenders too. We have an ambitious plan that are working with black men in terms of parenting skills, and we want to grow it from this point. We're going to use this year as the pilot year because we want to make sure that we're going to get things right, and we're going to need the feedback from the people that participate in the group before we can make those sorts of choices. So yes, we're going to start small, but we're going to start realistically, and this time next year we're looking bigger and better.
Now, if anyone's listening and wanting to find out more, how can they?
Probably the best way to get in touch is to contact myself, Claudius Dyer, through South Nottingham College. If you were to ring South Nottingham College, they'll be able to put you through. Obviously, we've had a huge amount of support from the college in terms of getting this set up. Principal Mal Cowgill, he's been absolutely fantastic and kind of trying to help the project get completely off the ground. So obviously this will roll out to students that are studying in the next academic years, 2012-2013. But any students that are interested in this, or any parents that are listening that may feel they have students that are interested in getting involved, then please by all means get in touch, give us a call.